Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. So, Upamecano's agent has confirmed his client will decide on his future soon. And his agent has said that he has got two options in England. So Upamecano could make a move to the Premier League. I think Bayern Munich are still regarded as the favourites. He is Bayern Munich's top target, but it depends on what happens with David Alaba. Fabrizio Romano recently confirmed our immediate plans for Upamecano, and he said that there's no chances of him leaving in this January transfer window, but Romano said he will be sold in the summer. Upamecano is available for £38 million at the end of the season, because that's when his release clause becomes active. Prior to the game against Liverpool in the FA Cup, Solskjaer urged us to beat Liverpool to the signing of the player, and it mentioned that Man United and Liverpool went head to head in the race. RB Leipzig CEO said earlier on this season, "We will sell our top performers again if that makes financial sense," and the player himself confirmed that he will be leaving RB Leipzig. Now, he's been at Leipzig for quite a few years. He's got a contract with them till 2023. He signed that new contract last year. RB Leipzig paid around €10 million for him from Red Bull Salzburg. I still think that Liverpool are interested in him, and Chelsea are interested in him. But I would take him at Man United because I think he'd go well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line, and he's still young, he's got a lot of development in him. Now, I want to delve into some more news on Jadon Sancho. So, Man United could get Jadon Sancho for a bargain fee. Ed Woodward and Joe Glazer have had a row over Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho accidentally stole the captain's armband in Dortmund's game against Augsburg recently. Now, Sport 1 recently said that Borussia Dortmund are relying on Jadon Sancho's sale. Dortmund are going to be forced to lower their demands, because it said Dortmund are expecting losses of around £88 million because of the coronavirus pandemic. But Dortmund have said that they do expect Sancho to leave in the summer. Now, earlier on this season, Sancho made an admission saying that he has endured a difficult season with Dortmund, but he did say he was happy to be back among the goals. Borussia Dortmund's CEO explained why he struggled this season, because he was expected to join us last summer. Sancho was our number one priority target last summer. Dortmund's valuation was £108 million. We was not willing to meet that valuation. So the actual fee was the stumbling block. Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist, he's spoken about the Sancho saga a few times. Bill's Christian Falk's spoken about it. But yeah, last summer Dortmund made it clear to us that we had until the 10th of August to sign the player. You know, we obviously missed out on that deadline, so Sancho remained at Dortmund. But last summer it said a few times that The personal terms had been agreed, the agent fees had been agreed, and even a contract had been agreed. Analysing the vast majority of Sancho's career at Dortmund, he's been very, very consistent. I think this is his 4th season with Dortmund. He's got a contract with Dortmund till 2023. Dortmund paid just £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. But it does mention if we fail to sign Jadon Sancho again, we will attempt to sign Ousmane Dembele from Barcelona. Now, Bruno Fernandes is planning on spending many years at Manchester United after his 12-month anniversary. Bruno Fernandes is our best player and is the best signing we have made since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. In most of his games at Manchester United, he has been very, very consistent. But recently, he has been a bit out of form. But Bruno Fernandes has scored a lot of goals for Man United. He's provided assists. He's predominantly a number 10. Fernandes denies that he needs a rest. You know, Solskjaer, prior to the game against Fulham, I think it was, defended Bruno Fernandes and he denies that he needs a rest. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes wants to help the club win trophies. Bruno Fernandes won Player of the Month for December, but he's won that now quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. He's got a contract with Man United till 2025. We paid £47 million for Bruno Fernandes, but the overall cost is just over £67 million with add-ons included. So there you go. You already know the news on Sergio Ramos. There was narratives coming out yesterday saying that Sergio Ramos wants to join Manchester United. He is available on a free transfer in the summer because Sergio Ramos recently rejected a 2-year contract from Real Madrid and he's preparing to leave Real Madrid in the summer. PSG were the favourites, but Ramos doesn't favour a move to PSG. Ramos has been a long-serving player at Real Madrid. He's been at Real Madrid around 16 years. He's made over 600 appearances in all competitions. And he's won 22 major honours with them. Real Madrid got him back in 2005 from Sevilla. They paid €27 million. Ramos is 34 years of age, so if we did recommend him in, he'd be only with us for a short period. But I think he would go very, very well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. It is a deadline day. Solskjaer did say, didn't he, earlier on in this window, that he is not expecting any signings before this transfer window closes. He did say fringe players could leave though before the window closes. We have been focusing a lot more on the outgoings rather than the incomings in this January transfer window. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been instructed by Ed Woodward to sell Jones, Rojo and Romero to free up funds for a new centre-back for the summer. I think Rojo is going to be leaving the club. I want Phil Jones to leave the club and I want Sergio Romero to leave the club. I think more players could leave Man United in the summer. Now, a few players have left us recently. Jesse Lingard went out on loan to West Ham. West Ham paid a loan fee of 1.5 million. And West Ham are obviously covering his wages. Solskjaer still insists that he's got a future at Man United, Lingard. Timothy Fosu-Mensah, he left the club earlier on this month to join Bayer Leverkusen. Odion Ighalo said his farewells to Man United. We recently loaned Facundo Pellistri out. That's a surprise in a way. But a lot of players have left the club since Solskjaer got recommended in. Obviously, we've seen players like Lukaku leave, Herrera leave, Sanchez leave, Young leave, Valencia leave, Smalling leave. We've seen Darmian leave. We've seen Fellaini leave. And like I've said to you, we have loaned quite a few players out. You can say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been let down in the transfer market again. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hasn't been backed enough in any of the transfer windows that he has enjoyed so far as Man United manager. So it's very imperative that Woodward backs Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the summer transfer window. This January transfer window has been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 4th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. But Woodward, he's come out several times to show his support for Ole. And he's promised Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that, he will back him. He did say towards the end of last year that he will back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. And even when we was enjoying them really bad periods under Ole, Woodward came out and assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job was safe. The board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years, and this is the main explanation why a lot of Man United fans have criticised the board and demanded the board out. I've given you the 3 areas where I think Man United need to strengthen up. I think we need a striker, we need a world-class midfielder, and we also need a centre-half. And we do need more signings if we are to be genuine title contenders. Like I said to you this morning, is Manchester United's Premier League title challenge already over? Because we've had a couple of disappointing results recently. Drew 0-0 with Arsenal. And we lost 2-1 to Sheffield United. And we are still second. City are 3 points clear of us, but Manchester City do have a game in hand. But I have said, haven't I, throughout the course of this season that I'm very sceptical we'll win the Premier League. But we will win another Premier League title at some point. Maybe next season, maybe the next couple of seasons. We haven't won the Premier League since 2013. So that's 8 years ago now. We are struggling against the big 6 in the Premier League. We recently drew 0-0 with Arsenal. We drew 0-0 with Chelsea earlier on in the season. We drew 0-0 with City. We drew 0-0 with Liverpool. Lost 6-1 to Tottenham. Drew with Leicester 2-2. And people say, if you are to be genuine title contenders, you've got to beat the big teams, or at least some of the big teams. I can assure we'll finish in the top 4 this season. I'm very sceptical we'll finish out of the top 4. I think our squad's good enough to finish in the top 4 at least. Solskjaer's future at Man United is uncertain because I still don't know if he is the long-term manager for Manchester United, but I still think he's going to be given at least another season at the football club. Solskjaer knows how imperative it is to get his first trophy on the board as Man United manager. We haven't won a trophy now for 4 years. And, Premier League, there's an outside chance, but, I can't see it. The FA Cup, we're into the 5th round of that. And the Europa League, so there's a chance of a trophy. There's a few things that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got to do at the football club, like I've already gone through with you. I think he's got to give Donny van der Beek more opportunities. I think he's got to identify his best 11. And I think he's got to get his selections right persistently now. There's obviously been games where he's showed tactical flexibility, but there's also been a lot of games where he has been tactically naive. And I did say that's one of my biggest concerns about Solskjaer. I am still Ole in because a couple of bad results isn't going to change my perception on him. I was certainly Ole out earlier on this season, and a lot of Man United fans were reflecting how inconsistent we was. Solskjaer has been criticised a lot as Man United manager. But we do deserve credit for sticking with him because he could have easily have been sacked as Manchester United manager. It's just a good job that our board have got a soft stance on him because disregarding him being a club legend, our board would be a lot more ruthless on Ole. Reflecting how long Solskjaer's been at the club though, he has gained some managerial experience and he's learnt quite a bit on the job. He's been Man United manager for over 2 years. We appointed him in December 2018 to replace Mourinho, and he's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. A lot of United fans says we give him the job too soon, but he did really, really well in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. But there's positives because in recent months we've been very, very good. And I think in the last year or so, Solskjaer has made good progress. Don't forget, we've set a new club record. We are unbeaten in our last 18 Premier League away games. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. But what we've been doing away from home, we haven't been replicating that at Old Trafford. We've been actually very poor at Old Trafford this season. I think we've lost now 5 games at Old Trafford in the Premier League this season. Solskjaer got us to the EFL Cup semi-final earlier on in the season. He's got us to the FA Cup 5th round. Despite our reluctance to back Solskjaer with transfers, I still think he's made good signings as Man United manager. He's spent over £200 million at the club, and like I've said, he's got rid of a lot of the deadwood. He did well last season in his first full season, got us qualification for the Champions League, got us 3rd, and he guided us to 3 semi-finals. Solskjaer, don't forget, is inheriting players from other managerial eras. The vast majority of his team is Jose Mourinho's. There's only a few players here now from Louis van Gaal era. There's only 1 player here from the Moyes era, and there's only 2 players here from the Sir Alex Ferguson era, I think. But with how good we've been in recent months and that, I have been saying, Solskjaer has been in the old Man United back. Because obviously we've come from behind in a lot of games this season, and we used to do that a lot under the Sir Alex Ferguson era. So yeah, we was getting glimpses of the Sir Alex Ferguson era. In recent months the performances have really, really improved. Certain players are improving. Against Arsenal, it wasn't even a bad performance, just ended a 0-0 draw. But against Sheffield United, it was an abysmal performance. You know, that was Sheffield United's first win at Old Trafford since 1973. And that was just their second win this season and their first Premier League away win of the season. We've sacked 3 managers since Ferguson retired. That was David Moyes, sacked him after 10 months. He enjoyed the shortest tenure at the club. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years. And we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years. We've only won, 4 trophies since Ferguson left. That was the FA Cup under Van Gaal and the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield under Jose Mourinho. I think we've made mistakes since Ferguson left, and that's one of the main explanations why we have been so inconsistent. We have got good players. You've obviously got Marcus Rashford. That's a very, very good player. He has been out of form though recently, is Rashford. Marcus Rashford has been part of the club for several years. He's been a United player since the age of 7. And he's been in our senior squad since 2016. Since then, he has become an integral part of the team. Marcus Rashford can play out wide and he can also play centrally. But I prefer him out wide because that's where he's more effective. But I think Rashford is the foreseeable future for Man United. Edinson Cavani, he's also very, very good. He's made a fantastic impact. Don't forget Cavani had 2 big chances in the game against Arsenal recently. Should have converted at least one of them. We got Edinson Cavani on a free transfer on deadline day last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a 2nd year. But Cavani, you know, he can score goals, he can create chances. His hold-up play is good and his movement in and around the box is also very, very good. And I said when we got Cavani, he will be the next Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I think Anthony Martial's good when he wants to be. Hasn't shown how good he can be this season because Martial has been out of form this season. And he has been criticised. And a lot of Man United fans are saying that Anthony Martial needs to be dropped. Solskjaer recently gave Martial advice over improving his form. But Martial was actually very good last season. And he was good in his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. You know, Martial's been at the club now for over 5 years. He can play out wide and he can play centrally. A lot last season he was playing centrally, but Solskjaer give Anthony Martial that number 9 shirt. Mason Greenwood, I think he's also a good player. Greenwood hasn't played as much as I expected though this season. Like I've said so many times earlier on this season, Greenwood had injury. At one point he was out with illness. And don't forget he was having personal issues. But Ollie's been defending him a lot this season. You know, Mason Greenwood got given that number 11 shirt at the start of the season. Like I said, Bruno Fernandes, he's an exceptional player. Like I said, he's a foreseeable future for Man United. Donny van de Beek, he's a good player. That's when he plays. He seldom starts in the Premier League. He's only started 2 games in the Premier League, and that was West Ham and Southampton. So most of Donny van de Beek's appearances come from the bench. Solskjaer recently promised Donny van de Beek more game time at Man United, but he made an admission as well saying that Van de Beek's unhappy at the club because of his lack of game time. Van de Beek can play in 3 different roles. You can put him as a box-to-box midfielder. That was his predominant position at Ajax. You can put him as a number 10. That's where we started him against Liverpool in the Cup. And you can also put him out wide. We got Donny van der Beek in a deal worth £40 million. We paid £35 million up front and there was £5 million in add-ons. Van der Beek's under contract with the club till 2025. ESPN said earlier on this month that we rejected several loan offers for him because we're blocking him from leaving in this January window. But I think he could leave in the summer. Depends by the summer if he's getting, more chances at the club. Ronald de Boer actually urged Donny van der Beek to leave, didn't he, at one point to boost his chances for the Euros. Paul Pogba, now, he has been good in recent months and that. In the game against Arsenal, he was fairly quiet. He had his moments here and there. And against Sheffield United, he did well in the first 10 minutes, but prior to that, he was poor. But prior to them 2 games recently, since Paul Pogba come back from the ankle injury, his performances have been very, very good. Now, there is still a chance that Paul Pogba will leave Manchester United in the summer. Because Fabrizio Romano has said that Paul Pogba's transfer away from Man United is still on the cards. And he mentioned that Mino Raiola has been planning a move for Pogba next summer. Now, it recently said that Paul Pogba is considering making a U-turn at the club. That means staying at Man United potentially past the summer. Could Paul Pogba still sign a new long-term contract at Man United? Pogba's future is on hold until the end of the season. Solskjaer did say earlier on this season that Pogba can be convinced to stay at the club if the club win trophies. And Paul Pogba contradicted his agent Mino Raiola for the second time. Mino Raiola, don't forget, made an announcement back in December and said that Paul Pogba's career at Man United is over. He said he's unhappy and he has to leave and he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. Earlier on this season, we triggered that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United till June 2022. Pogba's our most expensive signing at the moment because we paid £89 million for him. This is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. He has had a long running transfer side because he's been linked with a move to PSG. Mino Raiola was talking with PSG the other week and it actually said that Pochettino identified Paul Pogba as his top target. He's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid and there's been narratives of him possibly going back to Juventus. Pogba did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus and Fabrizio Romano revealed the 4 players that Juventus offered us to try and sign Paul Pogba. I think Fred's a really, really good player. He's really, really improved under Solskjaer. Defensively, he's been good as Fred. Breaks up the play well, can get forward well. Just needs to read his game better. Fred's been at the club now a few years. Got him in a deal worth £52 million. Luke Shaw, I think he's really improved under Ollie. Defensively superb, he's getting forward well, he's getting into good positions, he's putting good crosses into the box, is Luke Shaw. My only element of concern about Shaw is that he's injury prone and surprisingly still remains our first choice left back despite, Alex Telles coming in last summer. Alex Telles hasn't played nowhere near as much as I expected him to. I expected Telles to become our first choice left back when he came in, but obviously it hasn't happened. But at one point Telles did have COVID. David De Gea, he's had some good games this season and there has been signs of David De Gea actually getting back to his best. A few years ago he was the best goalkeeper in the world. He's been long serving at Man United. This is his 10th season at Man United. He's going to remain our number one for at least this season, and De Gea has made over 500 appearances for the club in all competitions. I think Dean Henson's good as well, and I think at some point he'll become our number one. He doesn't need to be loaned out again, Henderson, because obviously now he's got that experience behind him. Eric Bailly's good. He's played well, Bailly, since he started playing again, but he's just too injury prone, is Eric Bailly. That's my concern about him. And Wan-Bissaka is also improving, which is good to see. By the way, Solskjaer's made his decision on Daniel James. I think Daniel James is going to be staying at the club. Brandon Williams, he has been narratives of him going out on loan because he's our third choice left back. Seldom plays now. You know, will Williams go or will he stay? Probably end up staying, to be honest with you. Anyway. So my next video, I'll be giving giving you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference ahead of the game against Southampton. So anyway, guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless you all again very, very soon.